Yeah, I got a kitten. Yeah, you. 1 second. Yeah. Why are you yelling? Why are you yelling at me? Okay. So I planned on filming today because the weather looked good, at least for the first part of the day, but now it's just gross and gray. Yes, so as the title insinuates, I rescued a kitten recently. She's actually laying in my lap right now, grooming herself, but of course you're not gonna be able to see her. Now, this video is probably gonna be a bit long because there are a lot of things that I would like to talk about. And I think what I will do is I'll put timestamps and sort of give like an explanation of what each timestamp is. So in this video, obviously I'm gonna talk about like where I got her, how I got her. She's gonna be so annoying this whole video, I can tell you that right now. I'm gonna talk about taking care of animals and sort of like the culture of animal keeping in Japan. I want to talk about adopting as a foreigner because whew, and just whatever else springs to my mind. So like I said, I will sort of timestamp it and you can look down in the description and we'll tell you where I talk about each thing. But I do recommend watching the whole video because it is, well, at least I hope it's going to be rather insightful, and especially if you are living in Japan and you are hoping to get a kitten or a dog, yeah, definitely watch this because it is a wild ride. I guess what I'll start with is kind of my background with animals. So prior to moving to Japan, my most recent job was actually working at a dog daycare / boarding facility. So I would watch up to 40 dogs in a dog yard sometimes with just me in there. So I am very familiar with animals and animal behavior, especially dogs. I've always loved animals. I've kind of come to terms with, I think my true calling in life was that I was supposed to be a zookeeper, but haven't gone down that path. But it was actually at that job that I met Juzo. I changed the angle a little bit, apologies. Okay, come here. You wanted to lay up here? Okay. So it was actually at that job that I met Juzo. Juzo was a rescue. We worked with this particular rescue where if the dogs didn't have like a foster parent, we would foster them at our facility because we had things like food, water, we had little kennels that they could sleep in, and that was part of my job is we took care of people's dogs while they were away. So we administered medications, vaccines, we did all that. So I rescued Juzo about 2.5 years before I moved to Japan, and we went through that whole ridiculous process of moving an animal to Japan because what most of you probably don't know is that Japan is probably one of the strictest countries when it comes to moving an animal from out of country in. Are you just gonna yell the whole time? She's very vocal, so there's a chance that she's just gonna start yelling at some point and I'm not gonna be able to stop her. But the process to get an animal into Japan is extremely strict, extremely lengthy, and extremely expensive. Obviously, I have no regrets of doing it because Juzo is my lifeline. I would have never even considered leaving him behind, but here we are, we live in Japan, I got him here, all that jazz. So on to the story of how I ended up adopting a kitten. So about, I guess 2 months ago now, 3 months, I don't know, I went home to the United States for about a month. This trip was so long because I had a long time for once before my university classes started. So I hadn't seen my family or friends in 2.5 years, so it was kind of like, well, if I'm gonna go all the way over there, like we might as well make it, you know, a trip. So I was gone almost about a month, and initially I was gonna bring Juzo with me, but I found out, unfortunately, about a week before I was due to go back that his titer test was out of date. Now the titer test is something you have to get prior to moving here, and it's basically where they draw the animal's blood and they send it to a very specific factory and they test it for rabies and then they have to send it back, and it's this whole very official, very kind of lengthy, annoying process. But this titer test expires every 2 years, and unfortunately his had just expired and I didn't know. I could have technically gotten it done in the States, but it kind of would have been a little bit sketchy because it could have taken up to a month. And then, so like, if I didn't have the titer test by the time I had to go back, I would have had to extend my stay, and that wouldn't have been good because I had to go back to school, all this stuff. So Juzo ended up staying with my friend, who's a fellow dog mom. She has a little puppy named Paquita, and he stayed with them, and it was fine. Like, it was great. She stays at home for work. Even when she would leave, Paquita was there, and she took him to the park. She took him to these dog festivals. Like, he was having the time of his life. He was fine. But the thing is, when I came back, he had gotten so used to never being alone. Like I said, even when she would leave, Paquita was still there, that he started to howl and be kind of annoying while I was gone, which is something he never really did before. And that to me was kind of like, okay, it's time. It's time for me to get you a little sibling. So I had thought about getting him a companion a few times before, and I never really wanted to get him a dog friend. Juzo is really good with other dogs, but I don't know. I feel like he would appreciate being the only dog in the family, you know? And I know he gets along really well with other animals. I know he likes cats, all that stuff. So it's like, why not just get a kitten, raise it with him so it will play with him and be used to him and not be uncomfortable at all. And that can be his little companion. Plus, I always wanted to keep a cat. I've never had a cat. See, she's right there. She's sleeping. Little angel. So I went on basically the Japanese equivalent of Pet Finder in the States, and it is called Pet Life, something like that. I'll put it in the description. So basically it is just like Pet Finder, rescue organizations, and even just average people, though not so much average people, it's usually rescues. They can post their animals, anything from birds, cats, dogs, hamsters, fish. There's a fish section on there. They post pictures and descriptions and all this stuff, and you can apply to the animals through that. So I started looking for kittens on that website, and it was an experience. As I said, I have experience with rescues and stuff like that from back in the States, and I was by no means excited to have to work with rescues again. The idea of rescues is great, and a lot of people who do work with rescues are great, and they genuinely really care about the animal's well-being. But also, you get a lot of people that are kind of on like a power trip. You get a lot of people that aren't particularly like actually educated on animals and animal behavior. And I found what happens a lot of the time with rescues is they tend to place human logic and emotion to animals, which they're not humans. Like, they don't work the same as us. You can't do that. And this can make rescues really fussy and finicky about who they adopt to. And I mean, obviously you should be on an air of caution because there are bad people out there, but at the same time, you can't just zero in on a certain type of person and only adopt that type of person because you think only that type of person is going to be able to make this animal happy. And that is exactly what happened to me here. It had happened with me too back in the States in LA. I tried to adopt this one dog that I really, really liked from a different organization, and they were adamant on not giving me this dog because they wanted me to adopt him with his little sister. And I was like, literally talk to any expert in dogs and dog behavior and they'll tell you that is the last thing you should do, is adopt siblings together. It's terrible for them. And I said that to them. I told them, like, I work with dogs, I've studied animal, like, you're not supposed to do that. Like, literally experts tell you not to do that. And they were just like, no, but they're bonded and blah, 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 blah. Like, whatever. But before I get into talking about that, I guess I'll just sort of shorten it and I'll introduce Juniper, all that stuff. And then afterwards, I'll really get into the whole rescue organization kerflunkle. I really don't want to disturb her, so I'll just let her keep sleeping. So I did find Juniper, her name's Juniper, through that Pet Finder-y website. And again, I'll get more into this later, but basically this one kitten had been posted and I was like, oh, that kitten's really cute. I'm gonna look at the profile. And I clicked on the profile and there are sections of each kitten or dog or whatever where it will say like singles applicable, elderly applicable, and it'll be like yes, no. And underneath that, there was a section that said English application possible? Yes. Which I'd never seen that before on any of the applications. And to me, that was kind of like a ding, ding, ding. Like, if they're allowing applicants that speak English, then that means they're allowing foreigners to adopt. So I quickly applied for that kitten, and I messaged the lady, and I looked at her profile, and it turned out she had lived in the United States for a little. So I messaged her, and she was like, oh, I'm so sorry, but actually this kitten has already been claimed. I wasn't aware, like the foster parent, there was like a miscommunication, all this stuff. But it is kitten season, and we have quite a few kittens like coming in, and so I can keep in contact with you, kind of thing. And I was like, oh, okay. Because at this point, I was just kind of really beaten down by this whole process anyways, and I was just kind of like, whatever. So the next morning, I wake up to a message from her, and she says, hey, just letting you know, like, there's another kitten available that actually my friend is fostering, and she is currently living with a dog, and she loves the dog. So if you're interested in her, why don't you go check her out, and you can even meet her tomorrow if you'd like. And so she sent me the link, and I clicked on it, and it was this little black cat, which I love black cats, and she has a little white tummy and chest and neck, and she was so cute, and I was like, I'll go meet her, please. So I started preparing my apartment and preparing all the little cat thingies. So that night she messaged me with more information. She said, actually, if you decide you like her, my friend says you can take her home tomorrow. And I was like, okay. Kind of sudden, but I'm down for it. So yeah, I got up the next morning and I went to Yokohama, which is about an hour or so outside of Tokyo, not too far. And was that all? I'm talking about you right now. Hi. You done with your nap? Yeah. You gonna snuggle? You wanna lay on my lap? Yeah, she's gonna sleep on my lap. So I went down to meet her, and she was just so cute. And I was like, yes, please, I will take her. And I took her home. So she is about 2 months old right now. She's tiny. And she didn't have a mother. Her and her sister were bottle fed. So that's part of the reason why she's so loving and friendly. So I had plenty of, I was aware that I was going to get a kitten all along, so I had already kitten food and different types of things ready. And she had been weaned off the bottle, I believe. But I did find these little snacks that have like basically like formula milk in them that are good for kittens that are, technically past weaning age, but it's still beneficial for them to get that. And I just brought her home, and it only took about 30 minutes where she was kind of like hiding in her carrier. But even then, she wasn't really hiding. She was like poking her head out. She was playing with the toy that I had. You can tell she wanted to come out, but she was kind of unsure. And my dog walked over. Now, initially, I wasn't gonna let them meet face to face for a little bit. I was gonna let them smell each other through the doors, do that whole thing. But he came over, and he was already chill anyways. And she instantly like jumped out and kind of ran over to him and started like walking between his legs. And I was like, okay. So she actually warmed up to Juzo before she warmed up to me, which just made my heart throb. That was great. And within like an hour, she was already like playing and wanting attention and like snuggling and all that. Like, she's so friendly. I'm so lucky. Now I'm trying not to move that much because she's laying on my lap and I don't want to disturb her. But yeah, she instantly kind of just really meshed in with all two of us. She and Juzo don't really play. Like, they snuggle a bit and he wags his tail and she comes over. Like, they're friends and they definitely like each other. And she tries to play with him, but I think right now she's just so small that he's kind of like unsure of how to even play with her. So I know that as she gets bigger and bigger and gets better, then they'll start to play. I don't want any part of this. Oh. Get her. She's hiding. She's hiding from you. There she goes. Wow. Way to go. Basically landed on her. She's okay. She's over there. She has her first vet appointment this Sunday where she's going to get microchipped, get her vaccines, get a stool check, all that stuff. But she seems very, very healthy. She is quite the energetic one. And like I said, she is very, very talkative. And she's really quiet right now because it's nap time. And she was just meowing and yelling at me the whole time I was doing my makeup, so she's tired. But yeah, that's Juniper. I'll introduce her physically a bit more once she sort of comes out of nap mode. But in the meantime, I guess I will sort of go more in depth on my experience with adopting in Japan, and also I'm going to talk a little bit about sort of just like the pet culture within Japan. Now, disclaimer, before any of you guys come yelling in my comments, please listen to what I'm about to say. Do not take this as a personal attack on Japan. I am simply talking about my experience and what I have noticed with pets and pet keeping in Japan, because I am living in Japan and I just adopted an animal in Japan and I have been living with an animal in Japan. So of course I'm going to talk about Japan. Now, me saying this stuff is not me saying that it is not worse anywhere else, or it is not the same anywhere else, or that Japan isn't good about this, is that. I don't care. Like, I'm not here to talk about that. I am aware that there are other places that would be worse. I am aware that there are issues in the United States. I am aware, but I am not here to talk about that. This is not a personal attack on the Japanese people. I know there are gonna be people in the comments like, well, my Japanese friend did this, or the Japanese people I met love their pets, or blah blah. I'm aware, like, yes, there are people that are perfectly fine. There are plenty of them here in Japan, and I can tell you right now that those people would agree with everything I'm about to say in this video. So this is not me minimizing Japan down into this tiny bucket that everybody is the same. No, I am not saying that at all. And if you are going to comment anything along the lines of anything I just said, you are going to receive an eye roll and a quick ignore from me, because I don't want to deal with it. So yes, in Japan, most people get their pets from either a breeder or a pet store. Now, if you've ever visited Japan, you have seen those Peas First or whatever, those pet stores where they have the cute itty bitty tiny really cute puppies and kittens in the window that are like $4,000. They're so expensive and they're always popping in there. There are always people in there looking at cats and dogs and like buying them, and they're terrible, and I will tell you why they are terrible. There are multiple reasons. Understand that in order to get those cute micro teacup dogs and cats, that what you essentially have to do is breed a runt with a runt. Now, being the runt of the litter is already basically, it's a defect, it's a deformity, it's not good. A lot of runts have health issues from the get-go because they're smaller and because they're usually a bit more sickly. It's not a good thing to be the runt of the litter. So now think about taking a runt and breeding them together to get those qualities, like the smallness and, you know, the sort of like dwarfism look. Like, yeah, that's great. You get a small animal and, oh, she's that calling out, like so cute, blah, blah, blah. But you are also getting those health issues that you are breeding in. And these dogs and cats are not meant to be that small. So what you'll notice a lot, and what I've noticed a lot from being at dog parks and stuff here, is you see so many deformities and health issues. Like, I've seen more collapsed tracheas, like when you see a dog that does like the type breathing, like, yeah, it's really common in pugs and stuff because, yeah, quintessentially they cannot breathe. But you see that in a lot of breeds here that you generally don't really see that much, and it's because they're poorly bred. Now again, I'm not saying this doesn't exist in the United States. Obviously, you're gonna have unethical breeders no matter where you go, but the main difference right now, at least with, I'm gonna speak from experience of living in California, because that's where I'm from. In the state of California, it is illegal to sell cats and dogs in a pet shop. And if you do sell them in a pet shop, they have to be rescues. Like, they can't be bred or from puppy mills specifically for the purpose of selling them in this store. You can't do that, it's illegal. In Japan, they don't care. Like, it's just still extremely common to go to these pet stores and buy it. There's very little public awareness about just how bad it is to breed these animals like that. Like, even in the States, I feel like there is beginning to be a conversation about pugs and French bulldogs and just how mean it is that we breed them, because we have bred these defects into them because we think it's cute and it's It's really selfish, and I would be all for the stopping of breeding pugs, Frenchies, until we start to breed them back to their initial state, because at this point it's getting so bad. But yes, there's very little public awareness about that type of stuff. There are very little rescues and shelters, and the shelters that do exist are high kill shelters because nobody goes in and adopts these animals from shelters, because they think, why would I go and adopt this used, not cute and small dog or cat when I can just go down to this pet shop and get that one? So unfortunately, a lot of the animals that go into the care of those shelters are euthanized. And in turn, also, these pet shops where you see these super duper cute little puppies and kittens in the windows, what do you think happens to those puppies and kittens when they don't sell before they get bigger? I'm sure you can guess what happens. And it's kind of just like nobody talks about it out here. Like, it's just, there's very little conversation about animal rights and stuff out here, and it's very sad. So if you're ever looking to buy an animal in Japan, please, please, please do not go to those pet stores. I know it's tempting, they're so cute, and also on the flip side, you know that if they don't get sold, they're gonna be like, I know it's tempting. The only way these pet shops are gonna disappear is with them not receiving profit or with a big public outcry, and I can tell you right now, there's not gonna be a public outcry here anytime soon. So yes, obviously, I did not go to a pet store. So where did I go? I went to a rescue, and there are websites like the aforementioned one that I found Juniper off of that basically work with rescue nonprofit organizations, but there are whole other issues you run into with these nonprofits that you also run into in the States. So I've already talked crap about the American rescue with, you know, the adopting the sibling thing, that whole thing. Yeah, I've already talked about the American rescue. I'm going to talk about Japanese rescues. So again, I'm not saying that there are not similarities with rescues in the States or whatnot. There absolutely are. But I am just going to talk about my experience trying to get a kitten recently. Okay, so I'm going to cover the basic rules that it seems nearly all rescues out here have. So, rule number 1, no foreigners. A lot of the time they will implicitly state that they are not going to adopt foreigners, and a lot of times they don't state it, but it's kind of a given. You can assume that most places are not going to adopt you solely because you are a foreigner. Yes, welcome to Japan. You're going to get that with housing, you're going to get that with all kinds of different things. It's just something we deal with out here. Shogunai. So let's say you find a place that will adopt you even though you're a foreigner. No students. If you are a student, they are not going to adopt you. If you are single, they are not going to adopt you. If you are in a relationship and you live with a partner but you are not married, they're not going to adopt you. If you don't have what they consider to be a stable income, they're not going to adopt you. There is a lot of criteria for a lot of these places on who they're going to adopt to, especially if you're looking for a kitten. Now, are some of these concerns well-founded? Yes, they are. I understand the thought process behind, okay, if a foreigner comes to Japan and gets a pet, you know, what happens when they go home? They're probably gonna leave it. I understand why you would think that, and I'm sure it happens quite a lot. However, you cannot assume that that is going to happen for everyone. And for me, it was especially annoying because I would tell these organizations, like, look, I have rescued a dog in the past. I rescued him in the States, and I went through the whole process of moving him here, which is so difficult. Literally does not even compare to if I wanted to move a cat into the United States. Wouldn't even compare. So obviously, like, I'm not gonna leave an animal because I already didn't leave an animal. And I would tell them about my experience with rescues and with, you know, adoption, like all this stuff. And I'm a well-educated person on animals of all sorts and of all different personalities, and they still just, they would not look past this, which was really annoying and kind of honestly very offensive to me, because I mean, a lot of the times I would look at these people and I'd be like, who are you? Like, who are you? Who are you to tell me that I'm not gonna be able to make an animal happy, or that I'm not taking good care of my current animal? Like, who are you? And I understand maybe the student thing because, you know, they're gone, presumably in class a lot. They probably don't have a very strong income. Whatever. I mean, I say I understand that, but at the same time, no. The singles thing. Like, it's the fact that they say they don't want to adopt to singles, but then they also don't want to adopt to unmarried couples. Like, choose what you want. Like, Jesus. So pretty much what these organizations want is they want like a married, stay-at-home housewife with a strong income, no super young children. Like, and I mean, great. Yeah, that's like a fantasy world that you could only adopt to that type of person, but it's just not realistic. And it got really frustrating because I would go meet with these rescues and I'd go meet the kittens and, you know, they would initially tell me like, oh, it's okay that you're a foreigner. They would know I was a foreigner. They'd know I was a student. They'd know all this stuff about me and they would invite me out, which would kind of make me think, oh, like maybe they're okay with it. And I get out there and they would just basically like belittle me. Like it was just like insane. And some of the excuses they would give me were just like so... Yeah, so what I was about to rant about was the ridiculous reasons I got turned away, and I'm not going to go too far into it, but just for an example, I got turned away once for the lady was concerned over how long my nails were. Like, she straight up looked me in the eyes and said, I don't think those will be good for pets. Like... And the good news is also you don't have to get lucky because there is actually a foreigner-run rescue based out of Ibaraki Prefecture, which is pretty close to Tokyo. They are called KAWAKUJI Animal Rescue. They are amazing. They do amazing things for especially kittens, though dogs do show up every now and then. Like I mentioned, they are foreigner-run, so they are not going to turn you away for being a foreigner. And even if you don't want to necessarily adopt a kitten, I highly, highly recommend going to their Patreon and donating because they're amazing and they could definitely use the extra help as taking care of animals is expensive. My camera died, so I had to get up. And now she's yelling. Hey, come here. Come here, you guys. Come here. Well, here's Juzo. Here's the OG, my #1 baby. You'll always be my baby. Yeah. He's doing so well. He's being so patient because she's so annoying. I mean, all puppies and kittens are annoying. They're babies. But he's doing so well. He's being so patient. Yeah. You're being so good. You're being so good. Are you gonna sit on my lap? Oh, she wants to come up. Here she comes. Junie, come on. Oh, that was graceful. Juniper, come up here. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, so I saw do you need help? So I saw the application thingy for a kitten and it said English. I'm so scatterbrained now. I'm so hungry. Okay, bye. See, she's so annoying. Like, she's like biting his tail. Girl. And he just kind of like lets it happen for the most part. But every now and then he'll kind of like meh at her, and she's like, okay. Look at her. She's like a little bear. Look at her little belly. She doesn't really bite much, which is great. I mean, she bites, but like she doesn't bite hard. Yeah, you're so cute. Don't chew on my pants. See, look at her. Look how tiny. But yeah, I saw that account that said that English applicants were accepted, and I was like, hey, like I kind of have a good feeling about this place. So it was a volunteer who worked with the Yokohama pet shelter, and with her, since she spoke English, I was able to, please don't attack my toes. I was able to really like explain to her like my story and like the issues and all that. It was great. And that is how I met Juniper, and she is just like literally the best. Like, I cannot believe how friendly and just like loving she is, and also like she is a little demon, like all kittens and puppies are. Like, she's just very curious and likes to get into everything, but She eats well, like she's not finicky. She plays really well, like she doesn't bite too hard. Every now and then she'll bite down pretty hard and I always go, ow! Like I make sure she knows. But I mean, I've already had friends come over and she's just been like so like I went to an NCT concert on Sunday and I had somebody come pet sit and she was like snuggling with her and stuff like within an hour. Like she's so friendly. At night I put her in her little cage because I have one of those 3-tier cages that she can sleep in and stay in when I'm gone so she can be safe. As long as I cover it with a sheet, like she doesn't meow, she sleeps till I wake up, like it's great. She's a dream. And that's been really important to me because she is the first cat I've technically ever owned, so what are you doing? She's playing on the balcony sill. She gets like the kitten zoomies and it's the funniest thing because she makes this weird little like noise when she does it. Like she does it. Like. She's coming. Wow, fearsome predator. Fearsome predator. Come here. Come up here. Junie. Yeah. See, even though like she pounces, but she doesn't like really attack. It's great. Yeah. She's a dream. I'm so happy. Like it truly like shows. I've always kind of had this motto because obviously like I worked with a lot of rescues and people who were trying to adopt and stuff, and I've always kind of had this motto that like you don't choose the pet chooses you. I mean, Juzo definitely literally chose me as his human, but I think for all those kittens that I applied to and like sort of got my heart broken over, you know, being turned away for the dumbest reasons and being told that like I wasn't good enough for him quintessentially, like I ended up with like the perfect kitten for me. So I truly do believe that the universe will make things happen how they should happen. And sometimes it takes a lot of annoyance and struggle and pain, but it gets there eventually. Now she's playing with her toy. Come here. She's got like a little bit of the zoomies going on right now. Because she is so friendly and also now she's being raised with a dog, I definitely want, like I've already ordered a little backpack for her and I definitely want to try to putting her on a leash once she's big enough, because I do think she would really enjoy that. But I definitely, like if she does not enjoy it, I'm obviously not going to force it on her, because that is going, which is going to segue me into the next thing I want to talk about briefly, which is pet culture in Japan. Woo! So I think part of the problem and why things like these pet stores are able to thrive is because, and I'm obviously not saying everyone, but I'm saying that it is enough of a culture here that most people notice that pets are kind of regarded almost as accessories sometimes. And I don't think people really notice that, because I think they do genuinely really love their animals, but they're treated kind of like commodities, like perfect example, don't chew on the lens cap, come here. Like perfect example, when you go to the dog park, like it can be super duper hot outside and you will still see dogs, like so many dogs in like sweaters, wearing sunglasses, stuff like that. Like there's almost like there's not much regard to the actual animal's comfort, and instead people are just so focused on making them as cute and like like as possible that they kind of just ignore what is good for the animal. Yes, those are my pants, thank you. Please don't, this is mesh, I don't want you to remove it. And again, like I'm not saying, like I've met so many people that just genuinely love their pets and like understand them and do all they can do to, you know, keep them happy, but it is something that I've noticed since moving here, going to dog parks and stuff and meeting other pet owners. It's just kind of like, I mean, I literally have seen more dogs wearing sunglasses here than I never even saw that once in the United States. But you'll see things like they're wearing sunglasses and jackets and booties and like backpacks and overalls, like it, and that's cute. I mean, it's cute if you put them in that for photos and then that's it, but like to go play at a dog park where it's hot, like, and they're gonna get slobbery anyways. I don't know, I don't get it. And it was great talking with the rescue that ended up adopting her out to me, because they were kind of just like the lady even said to me, just there's so many young cats that like need homes. And it's so true, there's so many kittens and so many homeless animals out here that it kind of, that's part of just really what bothers me about how picky these places are. Like, obviously you should definitely interview people, but I mean, like, look at people that are like homeless. They have dogs and those dogs adore them, because dogs don't care that you're homeless. They don't know you're homeless. Like, and I just think at the end of the day, an animal wants to be loved. And if you're capable of loving an animal, I mean, love will make you do crazy things. And I know a lot of friends out here that are struggling to get by on their own terms, but they will always make sure that their pets have what they need. And that's kind of how I would be too. I mean, I'm fortunate enough that my parents support me and, you know, support Juzo and now support Juniper. But I mean, if I didn't have that type of support, I would find it. Like, I wouldn't let something happen to my dog, because he's my family. It'd be like letting something happen to your children. So yeah, I feel like this video is gonna be really annoying to edit, because I feel like it was kind of all over the place, but a lot of this is just thoughts that I've had in my head for quite some time now, and that I've kind of wanted to address anyways, so it probably came out like as a discombobulated mess, but I'll try my best to edit it well and make it interesting. I mean, she's falling back asleep. She's so cute. I would die for her. Little June. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this. I'm sure it's going to be a really long video, so if you made it through all of it, thank you so much. And leave any comments or likes that you want. If you want me to talk more in depth about anything, or just talk more about my pets or whatever, let me know, because I would not mind doing that. I love talking about animals. Please don't take this video as like me trying to shit on Japan or anything like that. Like, I shit on the US too. Like, I talk about what I see, and it just so happens that the things I see now are within Japan, and it's nothing personal. It's not me trying to be like, Japan's a terrible place, never move here. Obviously, I don't think it's a terrible place, because I've lived here 2.5 years, and I just busted my butt to renew my visa. So I do not hate it here. But yeah, let me know if you guys would like to see anything. Thank you guys so much for watching. She's so sleepy. Look at her. Look at her cutie.